Her True Face Unmasked, the story of Queen Mary's rise as a person. On May 4, 2004, the wedding took place. None of the 2.5 million Danes who saw Mary Donaldson walk down the church aisle will forget the struggle of Crown Prince Frederick to hold back tears, nor did the foreign viewers. "This is better than the Oscars," said an American TV commentator after the wedding. It was time to roll up the sleeves now. Mary held the title of Crown Princess and had to find her own special tasks and her place in the royal family. However, her initial patronages, which she took upon herself, soon created a somewhat unsuccessful reputation for her at first. Crown Princess Mary immersed herself in the world of Danish fashion, where she became the patron of the Copenhagen International Fashion Fair and the nest of designers. On the covers of newspapers and weekly magazines, she could often be seen in the front rows of fashion shows. For many Danes, the world of fashion was a distant industry. Choosing a brand proved problematic in the first few years. People started calling her the fashion princess, says Lars Heikki Sorensen, a historian and royal expert. This was not a nickname that could be stylized. Fashion was too narrow, superficial, and elitist, explains Lars Hoff Sorensen. Something else had to influence her, and that happened a few years later in 2007 when the Mary Foundation was established, aiming for the well-being of children and young people, including combating bullying and loneliness. Later, she began addressing issues of human rights and women's equality, with a focus also on LGBTQ conditions. According to the expert, this gave her new freedom of action and greater weight as an advocate for these special causes. She excelled here. "One can see the real Mary in many ways," says the photographer, because in an African village, residents are not aware of rules and etiquette when the crown princess arrives. They stand very close to her, stroke her cheek, touch her hair, and hand her a child, and you can say that she likes it. Young women often tell poignant stories, and several times, Crown Princess Mary had tears in her eyes or had to interrupt interviews because she was so touched. Mary is the first queen of Denmark born in society in many hundreds of years, but scenes like those in Africa indicate that it was an appropriate time for a future bourgeois queen to appear in the Danish royal family, says the expert. Today, the population increasingly expects members of the royal family to show more of their human side behind the facade, he explains. So the fact that Mary is bourgeois was a huge advantage because she is more natural and informal. According to him, this way, she can really better fulfill the role that is characteristic of members of the royal family today. But Mary also has a professional side, says photographer Han Giel. Crown Princess Mary is a hard worker. This is agreed upon by almost all royal experts. She herself said that she writes almost all of her speeches, thinks about every word, and practices them over and over again, unlike her husband whose speeches are often written for him. The nervous and insecure Mary Donaldson is long gone. When Crown Princess Mary goes to official events, she always makes sure to provide photographers with the best conditions so they can take a good picture and tell the story at home. But photographers often stand before Crown Princess Mary, and if they see a little girl standing ready with flowers or another obvious opportunity to be photographed, they cross their fingers for Mary to see it too, and she never disappoints. She has an eye on every finger. Others may not notice the little girl with the flowers, but she does. Mary is always well informed about photographers. For example, several times, she looked into the eyes of the Crown Princess and, thanks to that, she was able to direct her and the rest of the company elsewhere so she could take good pictures. For example, when Mary was on a trip to Aachen where she was given a chair in which Queen Ingrid sat, she immediately felt that the photographers had one big hope. Then she says, "I think I'll sit here on the chair," because she felt that's what the photographers wanted. She has an eye and a sense of what's good. She is very responsive and very persistent, friendly, says Han Giel. The routine and confidence of Crown Princess Mary could really be felt when she gave a speech at Frederick's 50th birthday celebration in May 2018 in front of guests and Danish television viewers. Crown Princess Mary stepped onto the podium and spoke for the first time in an official capacity in front of her husband. This speech made guests and Crown Prince Frederick laugh and cry. She talked about her husband in Lyra and his bad jokes, but she also became serious and sensitive. Sometimes we hit the bullseye without even aiming. That's how I feel about her meeting, among other things, she said. It was a long journey from the unsure Mary Donaldson at the press conference in 2003 to the confident woman who gave Danes a rare opportunity to see her more relaxed and humorous side. In the same year, she received an award for the Performance of the Year from the Danish Speakers Association, with the speech praised, among other things, for its humor and closeness, but also because it was not particularly royal, rather, a normal family story. What are your thoughts on this? Let me see them in the comments. Thanks and have a nice day.